Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today we are kicking off Road to Rank for Series 7 VGC. This feels like a completely different format, basically, even though, you know, it's just the next series after Series 6. So, for that reason, this is going to be a brand new season of Road to Rank, so we are going to start back at 1. So, for anyone confused on the numbering, that's why. Just because, yeah, this is very, very different from all the other formats that we've played this year. So, I'm really excited to dive into it. As you may have seen, I've been playing on Pokemon Showdown for the last couple of days, and so I've built 4 teams. We'll probably start off Road to Rank with those teams and then go from there, and I'm looking to switch teams every 2 to 3 episodes or so. Normally, I like to play with the team for, 3 episodes so that you get to see how it works, but you also see, like, what it's weak to, and it gives you, I think, a better understanding of how a team may work and, what it may struggle against. So, the very first team I will be using is going to be the Glastrier team that I constructed. Out of the 4 teams I built, I actually think this might be the best one out of the 4, and this was my first one too. So, was kind of surprised, but it's actually overall very consistent, and it's funny, I built this team basically independently, but I saw that a bunch of different players, before I'd even constructed this team, had built similar versions with like Regieleki over Indeedee, so it's clear that these Pokemon synergize really, really well with each other. And I think, I'll talk about adjustments I might want to make after we finish our time with this team. So, thank you to Maki for helping me get this team in game. The 4 teams that I've created all have rental codes, so the codes will be available when I do episodes on them. So, yeah, I hope you guys look forward to watching, and I'm super, super pumped to start this brand new season. So, let's get started. If you haven't seen my episodes with this team on Pokemon Showdown, basically the goal is to sweep with either Dragapult or Glastrier. Glastrier is one of the brand new Pokemon. It's a legendary Pokemon, and it's super, super, super powerful because it has just incredible stats across the board. And the only stat that it isn't super good is its speed stat, but Dusclops can set up Trick Room, enable Glastrier, and go to town from there. Dragapult is basically on the complete opposite end of the speed spectrum, where you can just outspeed pretty much everything in the metagame, especially after a Dragon Dance. So, partnered up with Indeedee, you can get a Dragon Dance off and then just Helping Hand and sweep through everything. So, the idea is to really enable Dragapult and Glastrier, but Tapu Fini works as a sweeper as well. So, yeah. That's basically the premise of the team. Let's get started with today's episode. Question of the day, I want to know if you've played Series 7 so far and what you think about it at this point after the first, week or so that the format's been available. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoy, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. It's crazy that we've done, I think, 260-ish episodes of Road to Ranked since Sword and Shield came out. It's almost a year, I think, since the release date of Sword and Shield, so it's obviously been a super crazy year, but, I'm happy to see you guys continue to come out and watch these videos. Happy to see the channel continue to grow as well. So whether you are a longtime viewer or whether you've joined in the last year or so, very much appreciate you for coming out and continuing to watch the videos. And, yeah, I've just been having a lot of fun this last year. Before 2020, I took a couple of years to, just focus on stuff outside of Pokemon, and school and whatnot, and I think this year was a great year to really get back into things. So, yeah, I've been enjoying it a lot, and none of this would have been possible without all of you, so thank you as always. Alright, our very first game, and we're up against Rain. Pretty cool. Rain. Okay, so Glastrier feels good here, as does Tapu Fini. Honestly, the Dragapult route is actually pretty interesting because I could just go follow me Dragon Dance and then just start, like, phantasming things. But Regieleki may have screens, and this is where Brick Dusclops actually could be pretty relevant. They don't have a Tapu Fini, which also means we can burn with Glastrier. Or, sorry, burn with Dusclops. The lead I'm thinking of is, I think the 4 we go with are Indeedee, Dusclops, Glastrier, Fini, because if I have terrain up myself, then they can't spore me. And my opponent actually takes a fair amount of damage from expanding forces. They only have 1 Pokemon that resists Psychic, that's Metagross, but Glastrier is a pretty good matchup into Metagross. I could definitely have gone Indeedee, Dragapult, Tapu Fini here, I think, as well, but it's our first game. I really want to try out Glastrier. It's and play a ranked game with it here, and I'm just really excited that we finally get the rank ladder in game. So yeah, Series 7 is also going to be around 3 months or so. I know, I'm sure, like, I'm super lost in the format right now, so once again, like, don't worry if you are as well. I'm going to be working on guides to get you up to speed with the format, but I try to take time to make these because I want to make sure that the information I'm presenting is as accurate as possible. So it's probably Kingdra. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I don't mind that. Like, the safest play here is to just follow me Trick Room, get the free switch into Glastrier, Brick, Dynamax Glastrier, and then go to town with Glastrier. So I feel like that's okay here. I could get greedy and go for an Expanding Force here with Indeedee. We're faster than Politoed. Okay, that's a good piece of information to know. I mean, Politoed's pretty slow, so that's not super surprising. Citrus and Life Orb. Okay, so kind of expected. I don't have any Spadef investment in Dusclops on max HP, max defense, so I don't want to risk eating up like a Helping Hand max Geyser with Life Orb and just get one shot. So I'm just going to play it safe here. I'm going to follow me. Indeedee's main job with this lead is to basically soak up pressure and get the Trick Room up for free. Because if I sacrifice Indeedee for a free switch in into Glastrier and you get 4 turns of Glastrier under Trick Room, 3 of those will be Dynamax. The policy will be activated on turn 1 and it's fantastic. But my opponent makes a good play here. They don't Dynamax the Kingdra, so that's most likely going to be Muddy Water if I had to guess. But Hydro Pump would be cool to see. Okay. Oh, they do go for the Hydro Pump. Okay, nice. Let's see if this one-shots. I hope it one-shots. Nice. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to happen here. It's often weird, I think, especially if you're maybe new to Pokemon, to see a Pokemon get KO'd and then have a player be like, oh, that was good for us. But Pokemon's all about momentum. And in this case, we get a free switch into our strongest Pokemon on the team, which is very, very good for us. So what I can do now is just go Brick Break into Glastrier, Dynamax Glastrier. I think I'd rather Quake here into the Kingdra. I doubt Kingdra maxes. The reason I want to Quake is to cover for a Kingdra into Metagross switch in. I think it's definitely going to be Brick Break onto the Glastrier. It might be safer to just Hailstorm this first turn, because my opponent could go all in and like Dynamax Kingdra, Helping Hand, Geyser into the Glastrier. Or Kingdra might just Protect. Would you really Dynamax Kingdra here? That would seem really odd. I'm going to go for the Max Quake. I really like the idea of getting a Spadef boost here. Let's see. Okay, they don't switch out, but that's fine. The thing is, because we get the special defense boost, even if you go Helping Hand, Life Orb, Max Geyser into Glastrier, you're not going to KO us, so I don't really mind. The only thing now I'm worried about, there are 2 things I'm worried about now. Scald Burn onto Glastrier and Blind Hypnosis from Politoed. Both of those would concern me. Best case is like Poly Protect, Kingdra tries to Muddy Water, but I could see a double Protect here too. Okay, Poly Protects. Fine by me. It looks like Kingdra Protect. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. While that's scary, the thing about Glastrier is if I get the policy off, I don't really need, like, the Dynamax. Like, just regular close combat, high horsepower, and Ice Cold Crash do a ton of damage, right? So I'll take this turn. I think this is pretty positive because this next turn I put on so much pressure offensively. Okay, so we get a Quake into the Kingdra slot. Pretty decent damage. And now the thing is that my opponent feels like they have to feel compelled to switch out, right? I could even go for a Will-O-Wisp if I wanted to cover a switch. The only thing I don't want to do is Quake into a Zapdos switch in. What do I think my opponent has in the back? If I had to guess, I feel like Metagross and Amoonguss make the most sense, which would make me feel more comfortable just clicking Max Quake consistently against everything. Yeah. I could see Poly switching. Like, I think just Nightshade Max Quake this turn is fine. Or I could Max Knuckle as well. Nightshade into Politoed. And I kind of wanted a Hailstorm Kingdra here. Just because, like, I already used Quake on it last turn. Okay, well, they don't switch out. They're just going to try to stall out my Dynamax, which makes sense. So I'll pick up another KO. Glastrier gets the +3 attack now, +2 Spadef, which is really, really good. And if Amoonguss is your switch in here, I can just switch Dusclops out into Tapu Fini and then start Calm Minding as well. And I have Will-O-Wisp as well. And if Metagross is the switch in, I can just Will-O-Wisp. And if Amoonguss is the switch in, I can just go out into Fini. I just don't want to risk the getting Spored here. Yeah, they're just going to go for Scald. If we avoid a burn here, we are very, very good. But they get the burn. That's unfortunate. I could have tried to KO Politoed to deny the burn there, but I'd rather... I figured that risk was okay taking. Like, at the end of the day, we're still at +3 attack and burn, so, like, Glastrier is still decently strong, right? But Glastrier could have just completely swept through this team if no burn came out there. As Regieleki comes out. Whoa, what? Huh. I wasn't expecting that. The thing is that, like... I get so many Spadef boosts. How does my opponent deal with... I can just set up another Trick Room, right? I still have 2 turns of Trick Room too, by the way. So, like, I'm content just going Nightshade into Regieleki and Max Quake into it. Do I want to change the weather? No, I don't think so. The rain actually works in my favor, given that I have Tapu Fini in the back. Yeah, I'm down to double up into Regieleki. It might go for a Protect here, but if it does, like, that's fine. Is that a Zapdos switch in? What is that? No, it's Amoonguss. What was their Dynamax plan this game? Wow. Okay, well that's great news for us, because I don't just see any damage output from my opponent at this point. The reason I went for Quake there was to also cover for the Metagross switch in. Close to knocking out. Very close. If it's not buried, though, that should be a Nightshade KO range. Did they Dynamax Regieleki then? Okay, just another Scald. That's why I was saying if we didn't get burnt, like, Glastrier just sweeps through the entire team, but that's fine. Like, I could have mitigated the burn chance by just targeting the Politoed, right? So, that's on me. I don't even know who you Dynamax if you're my opponent. I am down to just go for Nightshade onto the Amoonguss and High Horsepower onto Politoed. Like, we have 3 special defense boosts on both of these, and my opponent only has special attackers, so I don't really see how they get through this now. I guess they could swap Amoonguss out into Regieleki, so I actually think I should have doubled up onto the Amoonguss slot here. But I think it should be a Nightshade KO range. That looks like it's under 50 HP. So let's see if they switch out. Nope. Okay, we get the KO onto the Amoonguss. Nice. We miss High Horsepower. I mean, I could have gone for close combat there, right? But didn't think the risk was worth it there. Because I didn't want to eat up the Spadef drop, but in retrospect, the Spadef drop doesn't really matter because I'm at +3, right? Like, look how little Scald did there. I mean, even if Regieleki has Electro Ball, like, I'm at +3 Spadef. How do you deal with Dusclops? Can't I just protect Trick Room here? I think that's our safest play. If we knock out Regieleki, we win this game because Tapu Fini wins the 1v1 against Politoed. So the main thing here is that my opponent was, you know, like, Kingdra was their best max option because they didn't bring Metagross. Just double check this board state. Yep. Trick Room and Protect. This is super obvious, but why play risky here, right? We have so many special defense boosts on Dusclops. Like, we've literally max quicked every single turn. So this entire game, like, I was playing relatively safe. I was baiting for the Metagross switch in. The main thing with Glastrier is you basically want to get something out of your Dynamax every turn. It's really bad if your opponent switches in something that's immune, and in this game I basically said, or resists actually even. If you could just get like a neutral attack, it is going to be Dynamax, not Glastrier, Regieleki in our very first game. That's cool. But if Trick Room goes up, like, I think this should be GG. Okay, let's see. This Protect is obvious. Like, I'm sure you go Max Lightning into Dusclops and Scald. If they have Blind Hypnosis, that'd be scary, but then you actually can't Hypnosis because of terrain. And actually, they just target the Glastrier. Nice. So, this is an example of a game where we got so far ahead where our opponent's Dynamax was just completely useless. I do think, like, I can respect why they didn't Dynamax Kingdra there. Okay, nice. They just basically try to go all in on the Glastrier there. So, we got Trick Room up. Very good. With Tapu Fini in the back, like, this is still scary in the sense that we do need to knock out the Regieleki, but I can just High Horsepower Nightshade here into that slot. Yeah. The only consideration is whether I'd want to go for close combat, which is guaranteed damage. That actually might be safer. But then the problem is you have Electric Terrain boosted Max Lightning. Like, Scald shouldn't KO us, so even if we miss, I think it's fine. Worst case is we miss and they crit Scald onto the Glastrier. But Glastrier hits the High Horsepower. Does not pick up the knockout, but that's fine. We don't need it to pick up a KO here. Scald comes out into Glastrier. Yeah, look how good those special defense boosts are. Some people opt for a Max Steel Spike on Glastrier just to make it even tankier, which is, you know, certainly viable. But now the game is over because the win condition I was setting myself up for in this late game is basically knock out the Regieleki. As soon as the Regieleki gets KO'd, we win. So, nice job. Glastrier, like, that game should highlight how good Glastrier is, right? We got burnt by a Scald, but we still basically swept with it in this match. So, that's why losing Indeedee on turn 1 was great, because we got the free switch into Glastrier. It's not like Glastrier actually even picked up a KO every turn, but it just put on a lot of pressure while being on the field here. Okay, 3 turns of Trick Room. Nightshade should KO the Regieleki, so we can just Nightshade and Calm Mind. I think that's pretty safe. I don't really see any reason to Calm Mind, actually. I mean, we can just Dazzle. Like, there's no way my opponent can win this at this point, so yeah. Nice. That was a really solid debut game here. That had a little bit of everything. Our opponent had a really cool team. Kingdra, Rain. They had Regieleki as well. We had Glastrier. So if you're playing Series 7 VGC and you're new and you haven't been following along with like the DLC, you should definitely expect to see Galarian, Moltres, Glastrier, Regieleki. Those 3 Pokemon are running around everywhere right now. And for good reason. They're solid. They're really, really solid. Outside of those, I mean, Zapdos, Articuno, or the Galarian forms people are trying out. Regidrago, like, these all have, like, potential, but I think they are maybe a little bit less common in terms of just pure usage. And with Regieleki, the one good thing about playing against it is you know that it's pretty much only going to use electric-type attacks, maybe, like, a Round or an Ancient Power, but it is only going to do damage normally from electric-type attacks, for the most part. And if it is using electric type attacks, well, you need to have counters to it, whether it be like a resist, like a ground type or a grass type, for example. Personally, I think Screens Regieleki is really, really good. I was using that, on the second team that we ended up making. And it's just the ability to set up screens early game, but then put on a lot of offensive pressure in the late game. So, yeah. In terms of that last matchup, I think my opponent probably needed to bring the Metagross. What they brought had nothing for the Glastrier, basically. Because they didn't have Metagross or Zapdos, like, I didn't even have to worry about them switching into a ground-type attack with Zapdos in the back. When they brought out Amoonguss, I thought they were baiting out my attack, honestly, and I was like, wow, that was really, really big brain. But I didn't think bringing Zapdos into that matchup made a lot of sense. So, when you're assessing, like, what your opponent may have in the back, it's always good to kind of just, like, think through things like that. Okay. This is a cool team. Looks pretty similar to the Comfey team we were using with Moltres. Well, Moltres is obviously a problem, right? And Comfey can obviously just proc a policy. I do think Glastrier here still looks really good. So the question is basically, how do I beat Comfey plus Moltres lead from my opponent? Actually, without I might need to re-EV Dusclops because when I built this on the second day, I wasn't really considering the damage calcs against Galarian Moltres, but given that my opponent has one here, that may be a problem. The route I want to go with is like Indeedee Dusclops. I don't know if Dusclops takes a +2 Fiery Wrath, but I think it does. So Indeedee Dusclops, Glastrier in the back, and I really want Instant to deal with my opponent's Glastrier because I think they might bring that out because they know I'm Trick Room, but Tapu Fini is really good against Moltres. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Fini here. Mainly because I have Will-O-Wisp on the Dusclops, but I think this team needs to be slightly edited to increase the Moltres matchup. And that's why, like, other variants that I've seen that were built independently from what I created have like Regieleki over Indeedee, which gives you, super effective damage into Moltres. But it's Regieleki and Indeedee. That is super interesting. Okay, I don't mind that too much. Okay, let's see. My Indeedee doesn't have speed investment, so that means theirs doesn't either. Interesting. They could have like Helping Hand Electro Ball. I'm expecting just a Trick Room. Sorry, what was I going to say? I'm expecting Screens maybe to come up here. The thing is, I could also see Regieleki. Oh, it's Life Orb. Okay, that's good to confirm. So it's going to do a lot of damage. The thing is, do I really want to set up Trick Room here? Because I could see them Volt Switching to go out into their Glastrier. But then if you Volt Switch, I can Expanding Force. I kind of like Expanding Force Will-O-Wisp Regieleki turn 1. Yep, they Volt Switch. Like, if Glastrier comes out now, we just win the game, I feel like. And I feel like you do switching Glastrier here because you're expecting Trick Room to go up. Let's see. Unless they're Lung Glastrier, that'd be bad. Yeah, nice. Oh, that was... I'm feeling good about that one. Okay, Dusclops, please do not fail us and hit the Will-O-Wisp. Please. Expanding Force should get some nice chip on Glastrier here as well. Very nice. Yeah, they just Expanding Force with Indeedee. That's totally fine. Come on, Dusclops. Please. Will-O-Wisp. Oh, that feels good. Because their answer against Trick Room was Glastrier. Unless they're Lums. Let's see if they're Lummed. Nice. Oh, that's so good for us. That is excellent. Okay, so that's obviously huge. I want to go for a Heal Pulse here onto Dusclops. Keep this around for a little bit longer. And Nightshade this turn. Actually, like, we should still get Trick Room up, I think. No, but with Glastrier out on the field right now, I don't want Trick Room to be up, right? I am down to Expanding Force into Glastrier. I do want to Heal Pulse here. That's the main thing. I want to Heal Pulse this turn. So I think Heal Pulse and... kind of down to Will-O-Wisp Indeedee for chip damage. Okay, let's go for that. The thing is, like, now my opponent probably feels... Okay, they don't Dynamax the Glastrier, which is a good play on their end. So I think I'll probably want to get Trick Room up this next turn. I just go for Expanding Force. That's fine. Okay, Dusclops takes that pretty well. It's gonna be Icicle Crash. That's fine. Into Clops. Perfect. Nice. Look at that bulk. And we get Will-O-Wisp off. Okay, not bad. What do I want to do here? Like, that turn 1 play was so good for us. Like, if we lose this, something went really wrong. So I want to just make sure I make the best play every turn right now. You obviously have Regieleki in the back, and if I had to guess, it's really awkward, actually, because, like, for my opponent, because I feel like Fini just beats everything that they might have in the back. I'm just going to launch a Heal Pulse into Dusclops, and I think I will Trick Room here. Do I want to Trick Room this early? The thing is that I could see them just swapping Glastrier out. Maybe I Nightshade this turn. Yeah, I think that's fine. Nightshade covers for a switch. Oh, they actually went for Follow Me. Wow, nice play. Oh, they redirect the Heal Pulse. I didn't think about that. That's really cool. That's one way to lose this. Not thinking about stuff like that. Nice play. Okay, it's going to be Icicle Crash into Clops. This is fine, though. I think what I want to do here is Expanding Force. They probably Expanding Force with Fini here. I'm also down to just go out into my Tapu Fini right now, but I do think I should get Trick Room up, to be honest. Like, that's the problem. Yeah, you know what? This is what I'm going to do this turn. I am going to Heal Pulse into Dusclops, because I think they might not go for Follow Me. Even if they do, you're not going to knock out Dusclops. And if I get Trick Room up, then I can bring in my Glastrier. So let's see. Yep, they don't go for Follow Me. Perfect. I know this is dragging on for a long time right now, but I'd rather just play it safe. And I just want to cover all my bases. I feel like a Fini switch in was probably appropriate as well, but given that I know my opponent's Life Orb Regieleki, I really don't want to deal with that. Okay, so they go for Icicle Crash. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Nice. Yep. Okay, good. Now we're in a pretty good spot, I think. In fact, I think I might go into Fini first here. Last turn of Psychic Terrain. I could just Expanding Force, actually, into Glastrier. The main thing is that I should capitalize off how passive my opponent's position is right now, right? Okay, I'm down to go into Fini. Maybe a double switch here is fine, actually. Yeah, you really shouldn't be doing that much damage. Like, the worst case is you get a single target Expanding Force and an Icicle Crash on a Dusclops, but that's fine. So the main thing is now I get my Glastrier in under Trick Room. My opponent has Regieleki, which is possibly the worst Pokemon in the format to have under Trick Room. And it's also really frail, and we know it's Life Orb, so we'll be able to just one-shot that thing. This is why I fished for that Will-O-Wisp on turn 1, because I thought my opponent might make that play, and that's an example of a play where, okay, if the Regieleki stays in, it's not the end of the world, it's not like they just win, and if you call it correctly, it gives you such an early lead. Okay, so E-Force comes out. Yep, into the Glastrier. I should have maybe swapped the positioning there, actually. Just so that Fini ends up taking that damage rather than my Glastrier, but that's fine. Yeah, like, we don't take much there at all. Perfect. Okay, nice. I mean, their Glastrier is slowly getting chipped away, which is nice as well. I am going to Calm Mind with my Tapu Fini here. I think if you look at their team, there's not a single Ice Switch in other than Glastrier, so we can just Dynamax and go straight for the Hailstorm now into Indeedee. Indeedee is revealed. Follow me, Expanding Force. Yeah, they just forfeit. That's the thing about playing Patient. You just gotta put yourself in a winning position. And like, that last turn, I guess, was... My opponent could have gone close combat into Dusclops, but I feel like that was super, super low risk. The thing about Glastrier is you do need to get it earlier than later, because one of the problems with Glastrier is if you get it in too late. For example, if you already burned a couple turns of your own Trick Room and you only have like 2 turns to work with, then it's like that last turn you don't get while Dynamaxed, right? So you want under Trick Room. You want all 3 turns under Trick Room. I think this is Wolfie's team, actually. He was using to climb the ladder earlier today. Okay, so if I remember correctly, it's like Light Clay, Regieleki, Specs Fini, AV Lando, Shuka on the Stakataka. I have Brick Dusclops though, and because I have Brick, I really want to bring it here because I can bait him into bringing Regieleki. Yeah, it's kind of tempting, actually. The main question is just what I want to lead here. Dusclops. Like, I want Dusclops, I want Glastrier, I want Incin, and then it's probably Fini. Oh, if I actually lead Incin, I can just fake out into your... They might go with their own Dusclops, though. That's my only concern. Like, the alternative is to go Dragapult. Dragapult's interesting, because I could go Incin Dragapult, but then if the... Moltres comes out as a lead, that's bad. What about Incin Tapu Fini? I'm going to try Incin Dusclops Fini Glastrier here, I think. Glastrier looks very good here, but I have to worry about the Stakataka, which is why I want the Incin, and I also have Will-O-Wisp, right, so I can burn the Stakataka as well, so both of those are good for us. Once again, as you see in playing with Glastrier, it's just about putting it in a winning position. Which often means setting up Trick Room and then waiting until you can switch it in freely. Okay, Moltres and Regieleki. I think that's fine. I mean, it's going to be a fake out into Regieleki Trick Room turn 1, I think. I don't think Moltres would one-shot us here, so as long as that doesn't happen, then I think we're in pretty good shape. Let's see. Yeah, it's Policy, Let Clay. And I also don't want the self-Volt switch into like a Policy activation, so I think it's just Trick Room fake out turn 1. And then we have Will-O-Wisp to deal with the slower stuff on that side, and we have Glastrier to deal with... Like, Glastrier is super good against both of these. Part of the reason why I really like Glastrier is because of its matchup against Galarian Moltres. Galarian Moltres even at +2 won't knock you out, and you have Max Hailstorm into Moltres. So, I do think like one of Regieleki's weaknesses is like Fake Out. And with so many Incineroars and to a lesser extent Rillabooms running around, you know, it can be a little bit hard to shut down. So let's see. Moltres committing a Dynamax here, by the way, I am okay with, as long as our Dusclops survives this, and without a Life Orb, I'm pretty sure it should, but if not, this would be an example of a game. For example, if Moltres has any possibility of knocking out Dusclops, this is where I'd go to edit my team and be like, I need to survive this attack 100% of the time, because this is a super common attack. So that's an example of how I use, like, games to edit my teams. Yeah, so there's Max Darkness. Yeah, okay, it doesn't KO. Nice. So that's good. Now I can Parting Shot into the Moltres. Here's the interesting thing. I really want a Parting Shot and just bring in Glastrier and break the slot. Oh wait, no, Dusclops goes first, so I wouldn't be able to do that, right? But I've got Fini in the back, so I'm down to go into Fini here actually and Parting Shot into the Moltres and just stall out my opponent's Dynamax. I think that's fine. I'd be surprised if you Airstream here, and this allows me... Actually, the risk in switching in Fini there is that Regieleki may have opted for an electric type attack onto the Dusclops. Especially if they know my team. If they see this team, they might... I mean, you might also just think Brick naturally, but that actually was... Risk versus reward-wise, I don't like that play on my end, because in the off chance Regieleki does just use an electric type attack into Fini, that's really bad for us. So, I'm not the biggest fan of my decision there. But I think this is still pretty good. I mean, I get the Parting Shot off onto the Moltres. A Moltres that's not boosted up is a very sad Moltres. Which gives me the switch into Glastrier now. Not having Nightshade on Dusclops here does hurt a little bit, but I really like the Will-O-Wisp, Nightshade, Trick Room, Brick Break set. Okay, they go for Max Darkness, so we should resist that. Oh, wow! They actually targeted Glastrier. Oh my goodness. If they, like, Volt Switch into that slot, I'm done for. So that was a really good play. Ah, they're actually proccing their own policy here, though. Okay. Makes sense. But I feel like that's okay because, like, I have Glastrier in, right? So I can just click Hailstorm. If they Volt Switch into Glastrier, like, maybe that, I don't know, with the Spadef drop, would it KO? Probably not. I think his Regieleki doesn't have special attack investment, but he just did 40% to his own Moltres, right? So a Hailstorm should be able to just knock that out now. Stakataka comes out. The thing about Stakataka coming out now is, does he try to reverse Trick Room here? I think that's definitely a possibility, so I might just go Muddy Water, Dynamax, and Knuckle to try to KO Stakataka as he tries to reverse Trick Room. I think we should survive a Max Darkness from the Moltres here, too. Of course, you could also just attack with Stakataka, like Gyro Ball Glastrier, but I'm making the read that he goes Max Guard Moltres and reverses Trick Room with Stack. So let's see. Because otherwise I could have just gone Hailstorm into Moltres, Muddy Water. That was a really good Max Darkness into the Incineroar slot, though. And I fear that, yeah, my play there was a little too obvious, because, like I was saying, it's all about getting Glastrier in a super safely. I thought that would be pretty safe. And granted, we didn't take that much damage, but the fact that we also activated the policy and I was at risk of, you know, getting KO'd by Regieleki was not a good look. He doesn't protect with the stack, though, or the... Oh my gosh, that did so much. I was going to say he doesn't protect with the Moltres, but I think he's trying to reverse Trick Room here anyway. So that's fine, as long as we survive on Max Darkness here. Okay, we get the Muddy Water off. Very nice. We don't activate Berserk, which is why I didn't want to go for Dazzle there. And we get an accuracy drop. Not that that really matters here. Okay. Yeah, I think we survive this. Yeah, nice. That's huge. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. The thing is, even if Stakataka protects there, as long as I don't, like, my opponent doesn't reverse the Trick Room, we're fine, right? So now we have an attack boost on the Glastrier as well. We have an extra turn of Dynamax, and Fini is in a position to potentially Calm Mind up a bunch as well, which is quite nice. Regieleki comes out, so now I do have to make the decision on, do I think you are going to protect with the... Actually, I could just Max Quake. That gets me to +1 Spadef. He's at +1 special attack, so then I don't know if you even KO me. How many turns of Trick Room are left? We have 2 turns left. But I don't know if single target Dazzle KOs Moltres. The safest play here is to Quake into Regieleki. Actually, I wonder if he brought out Regieleki to bait me into, like, targeting that slot. Like, I think the best play here might be Calm Mind and Hailstorm in Regieleki, because I could see the last one being Landorus. Although that means Fiery Wrath KOs us. Okay, there's a switch. Show me Lando. Ah, it's Fini. Ah. Okay, Moltres protects, though. With the Moltres Protect there, then that's actually completely fine, because now I have one more turn of Trick Room to work with, right? I get the Hailstorm off. I get the boost here on the Tapu. Oh my goodness. How is that legal? That was so much damage. Nice. The main thing I didn't want to do, like because we were ahead in this game, the main thing I didn't want to do was Max Quake into a Regieleki switching out into Landorus. And I thought, initially I was like, why didn't you just bring out Landorus to get the Intimidate immediately? And I was like, maybe it's a bait, right? Oh, that's a slow Tapu Fini. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that's Tapu Fini is spexed. Moltres might go for a double protect here. I still have 2 Pokemon in the back, which is really good, right? I think Gleam here is fine, and just Quake into Fini is fine. The only thing here is that I could pick up a double knockout. I could Hailstorm, and I think that knocks out even through Protect. But Quake's a guaranteed KO onto Lafini. I like the idea of KOing through Protect, though, to be honest. Well, I don't know if it's a guaranteed KO. I'll play it safe. I'll Quake into Fini and Dazzle. I think that's fine. He switches out, actually. Okay. That's fine, I think. Actually, I don't know if Dazzle KOs the Regieleki single target, but that's fine. Although, I could have gone for the just the Hailstorm there. I was thinking they might go for a double protect, and I think if we just Hailstorm there, we win. But the thing is that Fini's at multiple stages of Spadef boosts now, and the Moltres gave away its boosts. And I have Incineroar for Fake Out, so Tapu Fini and Incineroar should win this matchup. And we still have a Dusclops in the back too, right? Okay, Glastrier's chilling Nay. I don't think the Dazzle will KO. This Regieleki is pretty bulky from what I remember, but it's 2 turns of Hail away from getting KO'd, so that should seal up the game for us. What could have been interesting was if my opponent didn't activate their policy earlier and then activate it now. That would be pretty cool. But I am fairly sure that... I'm just trying to think of what to watch out for. Like, Moltres, I think, you know, can nasty plot, but do I really care about that? I think it's fine. Oh, I actually don't have any increased stages of Spadef. But there's still 3 turns of Hail, so I think the correct play here is to just protect the Tapu Fini, sack the Glastrier to get the free switch in. And I'll Ice Go Crash into Moltres. Because then if I bring in, like, that's why I brought Fini. Fini wins the 1v1 against Moltres, even if Moltres gets a nasty plot off. Like, you don't do much damage, even with your flying type attack. So, with Incineroar in, Regieleki should faint from Hail. Oh, Moltres protects, interesting. Maybe to set up screens, but... with the numbers advantage here, and with Tapu Fini, it's about +1 stage of special attack. I think it's fine. He actually just Volt switches into Fini. But I'm pretty sure Hail takes out the Regieleki here, so it's a 4v1. Let's see. Regieleki. Bingo. Perfect, perfect, perfect. This game was pretty scary, though, because he went for the Max Darkness instantly Incineroar, which is a really good play. And it makes a lot of sense, because how likely is Incineroar going to stay in there, right? Like, Parting Shot or just Hard Switch always makes sense there, so that was a nice read. And I think if my opponent doubled up onto Glastrier and we took more damage, this could have been a lot scarier, so... That is the thing about switching in a Glastrier. Like, if your opponent makes a crazy, crazy good play, you might just take a lot of damage or, you know, be in a position you don't want to be with Glastrier, but... this Pokemon's so bulky, like, you can switch it in, take 50% of damage, and still feel okay, right? So, yeah. But Tapu Fini gets the Dazzle off, and that should be the KO. Perfect. Nice. So the main thing that was really important, that was momentum swinging in this game, I think is the... first of all, the turn where we were able to bring in Glastrier relatively safely. And then the second big thing is him going for the self-Volt Switch, I think actually hurt him more than anything, because it put him in Hailstorm KO range from Glastrier. And even at the +1 special attack, you know, it wasn't doing that much damage to Glastrier. So that's why that Parting Shot was important too. The other really big thing in that game was being able to Parting Shot into the Stakataka. Sorry, not Parting Shot. Muddy Water and Knuckle. If we missed that Muddy Water, that could have been bad, because they could have reversed Trick Room. But like I said, I did not want to Dazzling Gleam and then activate the Berserk on the Moltres, so... risk versus reward-wise, I don't know. Maybe Dazzle would have actually been better there, just to guarantee Trick Room does not get reversed, but Knuckle did so much damage there too. So, you know, by denying the Trick Room, that was good. Obviously, I could have just gone Hailstorm in that position as well, but like I said, I was reading into Moltres Max Guarding there, because I was like, I think, given that you've got the boost on Moltres, your win con is to reverse Trick Room and then try to sweep with Moltres. So, yeah, but... I think that was a really good demonstration of how good Glastrier can be. We didn't really bring Dragapult, but the teams we went up against weren't exactly super Dragapult weak, so Dragapult's really better if your opponent has really, really good Trick Room answers, but in this episode, Trick Room was just really good against all of our opponents, even though they might have had some slow Pokemon like Amoonguss, like Glastrier, like Stakataka. I think this episode shows you how to play around those. In the first game, for example, have Tapu Fini in the back so that Amoonguss can't Spore us. In the second game, burn the Glastrier so that it can't sweep us. And in this third game, just KO the Stakataka. Stakataka isn't that scary when we've got Dynamax Glastrier up on the field. So, yeah. That's going to be it for our very first episode to kick off the brand new season. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to try out the team yourselves. Rental code and paste are in the description below. And leave a like if you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. All right. Peace.